So before actually getting into this recording, I just want to take a second to thank everyone who takes some time out of their day to listen to these recordings. Every single one of these recordings, episodes, videos, whatever you want to say, are honestly just me sharing what's on my mind as I'm growing and, figuring things out on my journey, building presence of being. And it's all coming straight from the heart. If, there's anything I say that resonates with you or clicks with you in a certain way, feel free to message me. I'd love to hear from, people who listen and who get any kind of value from these recordings. One thing that I try to keep in mind with every single episode or recording is that my main intention is to bring you and myself back into the present moment. There's so much content out there these days that's fighting for your attention, chasing clicks and views and likes, and content that's trying to make you stop scrolling so you can stay on and engage with their content. And of course, I'd love for all of these recordings and all of the episodes I make, everything I put out to reach as many people as possible. That's part of sharing, and I want to make a positive impact. But more than anything, this is about presence. This is about returning to the present moment, being more present, but returning to yourself right here, right now, in this very moment. There's no catch, there's no wild hooks, there's no gimmicks here. It's just me being real, showing up, and like I said, talking about things that I'm passionate about. So, being real is the answer. I really believe that. Being real, being yourself, showing up authentically, not trying to put on a mask or a front, not trying to be somebody you're not, just really leaning into your own authenticity, what makes you you, and this is something that I've learned the hard way. So every single time you come across a piece of my content, you listen to one of these recordings, hopefully it can act as some sort of portal into the present moment. That's my intention with every single one of these episodes, every single piece of content I make. Hopefully through the sound of my voice and through the kind of things that I'm talking about, it's all coming from a place of realness and authenticity, and hopefully you get more present just by listening. And that is the goal with every single piece of content I make and every single thing that you see from presence of being. It's kind of like when you read Eckhart Tolle or you listen to him speak. Maybe you watch his videos on YouTube, or maybe you've even seen him live, which would be incredible. Something that I would love to do one day. But just through reading his books, studying him, listening to him speak, there's something about his presence that pulls you into the present moment, that pulls you more into the now, just through the energy behind his words. And that's the kind of space that I want to hold here. So I just wanted to mention that before actually getting into what I wanted to talk about today in this recording, which is all about compounding and momentum. Something that I've observed in my own life is that some of the biggest shifts in life rarely happen suddenly or by chance. They are the result of consistent compounding effort over time. These small positive changes made daily, especially when they are aligned with our true goals and values. They accumulate gradually, building momentum that eventually leads to significant transformation. And I'm going to use the example of meditation here because it's something that I do every single day. Obviously, if you listen to, this podcast, my content, I'm a huge proponent of meditation. It's something that I've been doing pretty much every single day for, close to 2 years now. So if you want to listen to my take on meditation, how I meditate, I have so many videos out there talking about this. But I'm going to use meditation as an example here because I think it perfectly can illustrate this point. But when someone first starts practicing meditation, the benefits might feel subtle or even unnoticeable, but over weeks, over months, these small moments of calm and peace and focus build up, and then suddenly it feels like a profound shift has happened overnight. You get this feeling of having greater clarity maybe, or reduced stress, or, you feel this peace with you throughout the course of your day, or you're just happier. And in reality, that sudden feeling of change is the visible result of countless small, consistent efforts that have been quietly behind the scenes been adding up. And this process really highlights the power of patience and perseverance and persistence. And it reminds us that meaningful growth often unfolds quietly and steadily before becoming visible. So if you're taking action, you're taking consistent action towards your goals, you have a vision and you're working towards it, and you know you're working towards it. You've been building that discipline, you've been building the right habits, you've been building the right mindset. You know deep down that you've been putting in that work, that honest work. But maybe you're not seeing the kind of results that you would like to see yet. There's things that are going on behind the scenes. Like, you are becoming a better person. You are developing discipline. You are developing a better mindset. You are learning about the right habits that are going to enable you to continue walking in the right direction. You're doing the right things, and you probably know you're doing the right things. So don't let the results or the lack thereof dictate or determine your self-worth or the way that you see yourself. Because if you know deep down that you are doing the right things, your time will come. The reps that you have been putting in will amount to something. And maybe where it is you are right now, you are seeing positive shifts. You are seeing small positive changes happen. But maybe they're just not to the degree that you would like. It's all going to add up. And you have to have faith in that. You have to believe that the effort that you've been putting in will amount to something. It will pay off. At some point, at some stage, it will pay off. The compounding that you've been doing quietly behind the scenes is going to pay off. Eventually, you will see the fruits of your hard work. The habits that you stuck to when there was no immediate results, the mindset shifts you've practiced when no one was watching, the moments of discipline, the moments of reflection or patience that seemed minor at the time. This quiet work doesn't grab attention, it doesn't feel dramatic in the moment, but it's what builds the foundation for real transformation. And you have to have faith that the work that you've been putting in, the time that you've been putting in, the effort that you've been putting in will amount to something. And something that I'm telling myself that has really helped me is, I can't remember exactly where I heard this from, this quote, but it goes, "Time spent working on something meaningful is never time wasted." When you're working on something or building something that has meaning to you, it's a priority to you, you care about it, you're passionate about it, it is never time wasted. Think of what you're doing right now as planting a seed. You don't see the growth right away, but under the surface, roots are taking hold, and eventually that steady effort breaks through in a visible, very powerful way. And what seems like an overnight change, you look around and you see how everything changed. It's really just the tipping point of all the work that came before it. Eventually, that seed that you planted will grow. First, it happens behind the scenes, no one sees it, and then it flowers, it blooms, and it's beautiful. So if you're in a position right now where you're working hard, like I said, you aren't seeing the results that you would like to see, keep working, keep showing up for yourself, keep learning, keep developing, and it will pay off. And like I said, again, if you are seeing some results, let that motivate you. Let that build, more inner confidence that what you're doing and the effort that you've been putting in is amounting to something. And if you continue to be patient and you continue to work, you continue to put in the reps behind the scenes when no one's watching, that compounding that you've been doing, again, it's going to pay off. And you already have evidence that your hard work is paying off, even if it may not seem like it. The behind the scenes work, that quiet work you've been putting in, those small, consistent efforts, might not show up right away in the results you expect, like achievements, likes, recognition, success, external validation. Of course, everyone has their own different desires, and that's cool. It can be frustrating, however, when you're doing that inner work, when you're doing the quiet work, the behind the scenes work, but you don't yet see the outer rewards. But it's important to note and think about this. Growth doesn't always express itself in obvious ways at first. Often, the first signs of real change show up in who you're becoming, in who you are. Your character strengthens, your confidence is growing, your habits become sharper, Your ability to stay disciplined improves. These internal shifts are powerful, and they should be recognized because they're ultimately what shapes the external outcomes, right? Like before success shows up in your results, it often shows up in your mindset, in who you are, your reactions to things, your habits, your routine, the way that you carry yourself, even when no one's watching. That's real foundation. That's what success is built upon. And when you build that, the external results show up naturally. They will eventually follow. They will eventually follow suit. You have to believe that. You have to have faith in that. So you might already be winning. You are already winning. You probably are already seeing success. It just might not be the success you thought would validate your effort. And I get it. It can be disheartening, especially in, today's world that's so obsessed with like fast results and visible achievements. But the truth is, real transformation often begins in ways that aren't immediately measurable or, public. It shows up internally. It shows up within you. Before you see the outcome you want, you'll notice shifts internally. Maybe you're more patient, you're more focused, you're more grounded, you're more centered, you're more present. You find that it's easier to show up for yourself more consistently. That's success. And the outer success that you're looking for will come from that. So have confidence knowing that the work that you've been putting in, the compounding that you've been doing, will pay off. It's going to pay off in your character, in who you become, who you are becoming, and it's going to pay off in the results that you see externally and the success that you want externally. It will. Just keep showing up. I promise you it will. So I genuinely hope that you got some value from listening to this. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of Presence of Being. Hope you're having an incredible day wherever you are listening to this. And I will see you in the next recording very, very soon.